Greetings, friends, family, and fellow commanders. Welcome to the 5th episode of the SHEPARD Chronicles. This transmission is being sent to you from one of the farthest, most remote systems in the galaxy, known as Beagle Point. This system, currently surveyed at 65,279 light-years from Sol, is both an historical and tourist destination for explorers, only the most determined and resolute. This base camp marks the end of Leg 2, an incredibly long and arduous journey through many regions of the galaxy. The Scutum Centaurus arm, including the Ascendants and the Bleak Lands, eastern portions of the Abyss, and the outer galactic Sagittarius Carina arm, with its ultimate destination in the Solitude Void and Beagle Point. The SHEPARD Mission spent a total of 10 days at Beagle Point and its surrounds, with a host of events and activities having taken place. This video transmission is a collection of these events intended to serve as historical evidence of Shepard Cmdr's presence here. Now that the SHEPARD mission has successfully reached Beagle Point, we have gained enough recognition that the newly formed Colonial Gazette has decided to publish a 2-part expose editorial on our progress. The first issue was recently released, which covers life on the mission. This will be followed by a second article covering Shepard's scientific findings. This is quite an accomplishment, as it is one of the first public reporting made possible by the CCN in the newly formed Colonia Nebula. A link to this news article is embedded within this transmission and may be seen below. I would also like to announce on this transmission that I have recently completed and sent back the first science report for the SHEPARD mission. At the completion of each leg, a report will be filed outlining the given scientific findings during each respective leg. The first report for Leg 1, covering the Orion Spur and surrounds, gives detailed descriptions of galactic anomalies discovered so far, including giants and star classification, open clusters and 2-mass stars, Y and T-class dwarf distribution, G and K class stellar distribution at NGC 3199 Nebula, and T Tauri formation at NGC 3199 Nebula. A link to this science report has also been embedded within this transmission. A little over 2 years ago, on January 26, 3301, the Galactic News Organization published an article with this heading: Previously Unknown Explorer Returns from the Outer Rim. This news article outlined Commander Aramis's journey, which started in Sol and included a total of a staggering 144,000 light-years before he was able to return home. The article also explicates that perhaps most exciting of all, Commander Aramis is believed to have mapped out a whole host of previously unexplored areas of space beyond the Scutum Centaurus arm. Unofficially nicknamed Beagle Point at the time by the exploration community after Aramis's intrepid starship that first discovered it, the DSS Beagle. This system has subsequently become a point of interest that has been visited by many explorers conducting their own survey missions of the galactic outer rim regions. This system marked the end of the line for Commander Aramis's Distant Suns Extreme Range Survey mission during the very early ages of deep space exploration, and marked the first recorded galactic crossing. One year after the Distant Suns expedition, the Beagle Point star system was chosen as the final Distant Worlds base camp, which saw the arrival of over 500 pilots during early April 3302. Despite its remote location, Beagle Point thus became the center of several social events organized by the exploration community, including SRV rallies and air shows. In recognition of this star system's historic importance, Beagle Point was officially designated as such by Universal Cartographics on May 26, 3302. Out of respect for the legacy of the Distant Worlds expedition, the SHEPARD Mission located its base camp at the same location, known as Darwin's Legacy, on the second planet of Beagle Point. After a rapid journey from the Ronceville crossing to Beagle Point, a distance of 13,000 light-years in 3 days, the fleet finally arrived at Beagle Point on December 23, 3302. Why such a fast-paced trek through the abyss? There were many reasons, primarily because the SHEPARD Mission fleet intended to spend Christmas and New Year's together at Beagle Point, a way to reunite and enjoy some time together. Seemingly every day there was an event planned until our departure on January 3rd, 3303. On Christmas Day there was a Shepard celebration, Lavian brandy and eggnog, and of course, a Christmas fighter PvP tournament at Beagle Point. While many commanders were either too tired or too hyped on the brandy, a few of us competed against one another in the finest ship-launched fighters the galaxy has to offer. These dogfights took place about 3 kilometers above Darwin's legacy and lasted for a total of 3 rounds. Built for speed and reconnaissance, my small Imperial fighter was a scout class and was no match for Commander Tain's Taipan powder from Raycon Space Base. Of the 3 fighters, the Taipan is not as fast as the Condor nor as maneuverable as the Imperial, but it does have the most armor and shields, making it a tough challenge to beat. The day after, on December 26th, we held an SRV circuit rally race. This race included multiple laps around a small racetrack used by Commander Rajan and the Candy Crew Guild during Distant Worlds. The course is a clockwise rotation through a valley of varying width, sometimes wide and flat, others narrow and deep. At the center was a mesa plateau where onlookers could watch and take photos. Commanders met in a valley through a gateway of a momentous mountain backdrop. The race was a fun release of built-up energy, and it was nice to get out of our ships, no matter how large they may be. Finally, yours truly finished first, followed very closely by Commander Ethereal Serial. Serial actually was leading most of the race, however, lost his directional frame of reference close to the end of the final lap, braking too soon. He missed the pass through the mountain wall and was stuck in rough terrain for long enough for me to catch up. After a mad scurry to the starting point, designated by a large boulder on the ground, yours truly, Cmdr Parabolus, was victorious. Before departing the Beagle Point system 2 years ago, Commander Aramis sent a long-range message home stating the following. On the galactic rim, there was nothing but inky blackness outside your cockpit window, giving you a real sense of remoteness. The Milky Way looks so distant, just a band of distant bright stars with little color or structure. Outwards looking, there are a handful of stars still further out, but they are beyond the jump range of a long-ranged asp, so may never be visited. At that time in history, he was most certainly right. Beagle Point long stood as the most reachable distant system in our galaxy. All of that, however, changed with the advent of fuel synthesis for increased jump range, the discovery of rogue engineers willing to make radical, untested modifications to our ship's modules, and again changed after gas emulsions from neutron stars were found to be a way to supercharge a frameshift drive. During Shepard's time at Beagle, one of our tasks was to split up the fleet in search for the most distant system. We called this the FSD Endurance Challenge. With the advanced technologies of our long-range surveyor-class ships, we were hopeful to plot and map unknown distant systems. I was able to find 3 systems hitherto unmapped and unexplored more than 65,300 light-years from Sol, farther than Beagle Point. Each of these systems contained few astronomical bodies and seemed barren, fitting for their location on the edge of the intergalactic void. During the FSD Endurance Challenge, many Shepard commanders happened upon a system now known as Ishum's Reach. Ishum's reach is thought to be the most distant system from Sol at 65,647.34 light-years. Ishum's reach was tagged by Commander Ishum sometime in June 3302, and hence was named after him. While Shepard Cmdrs, as part of our FSD Endurance Challenge, were unable to find an unexplored system beyond Ishum's reach, Commander David Bowman of the SHEPARD Mission did make a remarkable discovery, now recorded by the Galactic Mapping Project. Since its discovery in June 3302, it was thought that traveling to Ishum's reach required the ability to cross one extreme jump of 99 light-years. Shepard Cmdr David Bowman, however, successfully identified and traversed a new route, verifying that it could be managed with only an 82 light-year range jump through material synthesis, reducing the amount of synthesis materials required by half. I have embedded the route to follow in this transmission and is listed below. Because of this momentous and honored accomplishment, I would like to broadcast the details of Ishum's reach back to civilized space. Not many commanders have ever visited, nor will have the opportunity and endurance required to visit such a system. In fact, at the time of this transmission, only 17 commanders total have ever visited this system, 5 of which were SHEPARD Cmdrs. For those who could not make it, I share this footage and descriptions. The first 3 planets in this system are relatively uneventful rocky worlds, all of which contained active silicate geysers on their surface. Flybys revealed very few, if any, of these to the naked eye. A more detailed reconnaissance might indicate small patches near fault lines. That being said, one of the planets also had a few ponds of darkened discoloration on its surface, similar to what we call mons on the Earth's moon. The hottest terrestrial planet in the system, with a surface temperature of almost 1500 degrees Fahrenheit, that's enough to melt steel, is a high metal content world with an atmosphere of 84% carbon dioxide. Although the atmosphere is hard to discern and is very thin, it is incredibly dense, causing a surface pressure of over 500 times that back on Earth. Its surface was a rich gold color, with periodic mountain ranges likely caused from past volcanism. The largest terrestrial planet in the system is a high metal content world with an atmosphere composed of 100% nitrogen. The planet is of a mild temperature, and resulting from its atmospheric composition is a planet my computer diagnoses as suitable for terraforming. Interestingly, this planet features 9 large volcanoes, roughly equidistant from one another, with a yellowish powder near its apex. This discoloration is likely caused from past sulfur deposited and emitted during periods of high magma volcanism. This planet also featured a moon with color variations on its surface. Needless to say, this moon also contained many materials and minerals of which I was in need, as I had depleted many of my resources to increase the range of my frameshift drive, getting out to the absolute edge of the galaxy. One of the largest terrestrial planets in the system was a water world with a dense atmosphere of carbon dioxide, likely caused from its active iron magma volcanism just below its surface. The heat and gases from the interior of this planet have led to a very dense and foggy atmosphere. Its density, in turn, has caused an unusually high temperature for a terrestrial planet this far from its parent star. The furthest terrestrial world of the system is an orange high metal content world. The system would be a strong candidate for terraforming because of its atmosphere that is very similar to Earth's. However, its cooler temperatures resulting from its distance from the star prevent it from being so. Its cold temperature is evident in its extremely large ice caps along the South Pole. This temperature variance from the poles to the equator have also caused it to develop numerous persistent hurricanes across its surface. The planet also shows incredibly long scarring, barely visible as remnants on its surface from a violent past of meteor collisions. The largest planet in this system, a Class 1 Jovian gas giant, was a mocha-colored brown with hints of chocolate and deep red near its north pole. As large as the planet was, it only had 5 small rocky moons, each very similar. The first, like the other 4, was a medium brown color, scattered with veins of canyon systems interspersed between mountains and craters. The last gas planet of the system is believed to be the farthest planet from Earth, and the only ringed body in the system. The planet itself is very similar to the other gas giant, yet its rings are rich with oranges and blues and silvers and whites. This planet has 6 moons, the last of which is the most remarkable planetary sight we have seen so far on the SHEPARD mission. This gas giant contains what is now called Distant Moon. The moon is currently over 134,000 light seconds further out into the intergalactic void than the primary star is, thus making it the most distant object an explorer can visit. It was unofficially designated Salome's Reach in honor of Senator Loren, aka Salome, by the Children of Raxla pilot who was first to land there on June 1st, 3302. During the days surveying this system, I met Shepard Cmdr Adrian out at Salome's Reach, this distant moon. Perhaps it was the nostalgia of the moment, or the long-awaited reward and anticipation. But I must admit, this moon is one of the most spectacular I have ever encountered. encountered. The icy surface is ripped apart by deep and dark fissures of bright orange, the result of its large iron deposits below the surface. I landed my Conda and got in my surface recon vehicle and met Commander Adrian for one of the most exciting, terrifying, and exhausting events of my Shepard mission so far. Firstly, let me add this caveat. During, and even before the Shepard mission, it has been a hobby of mine to canyon jump, to launch my SRV from one cliff edge to another, to reach the other side and defy gravity. With the powerful vertical thrusters on my SRV, you can go farther than you might think, but not quite as far as Commander Adrian thinks. After a few hours exploring the surface, Commander Adrian made a fast dash for a canyon edge. I stupidly followed, trying to keep pace. After our launch from the edge, it was very quickly evident we were not going to make the other side, and that we were going to plummet the 6 kilometers down to the surface of this canyon. My mind rapidly went from excitement and adrenaline to concern about my life. All my power into my SRV thrusters to try to ameliorate the fall, but its usefulness was limited. Before hitting the surface, I tried to position my SRV in an upright position and put all my power into my shields. This saved my life, but not my SRV. I crashed so hard into the canyon surface that my SRV was destroyed. It exploded on impact. Awake in a daze, I crawled out of its cockpit, still in my fire retardant suit. My oxygen supply was quickly running out. I contacted and recalled my ship to my current location at the bottom of the canyon, and soon I was on board, alive, but in pain. Commander Adrian, however, survived his fall. He met me at my location, and together, at the very bottom of the valley, we looked up toward one of the most amazing views of my life. The pain subsided, and as I turned my gaze back toward the sky, I saw all the magnificence of that which I had left behind, the fruits of our journey. Somehow, this view, the knowledge of the expanse we had just crossed, the camaraderie of brotherhood through this seemingly insane adventure, I realized it was all worth it. If you liked this video or enjoyed its contents, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. Or better yet, just recommend and share it to someone you might think would also enjoy it. Until next time, this is Cmdr Parabolus signing off.